We are live. Straight Politicking. Alex Alonso and Munchie B are here to bring you guys another banger, episode 68. And Munchie B,
What's the big old deal?
like always, man, it seems like you're on everybody's timeline. It's a new topic every week.
Every single week.
And I want to ask you about this whole back and forth with PFace and Comparator. But before we do that, I have a couple fact checks from the previous episode. You had asked about the theater where the Crips used to go to, and we didn't mention the name of the theater. I just know it was on Imperial and Western. Two things: the name it was the Rio Theater, and I said it was next to the Burger King.
No, I think it was across Western on the east side of Western.
It was on the Rio Theater was on the west side of Western, right before Imperial. Now there was a Burger King there, so I went to go look it up. That Burger King was demolished in like 2017.
I remember.
So now what's in its place is a kidney care health clinic, and the kidney care health clinic has the exact same address as the old Rio Theater. So it's a whole new building there. They even got rid of the Burger King, and then the Church's Chicken, which was next to the Burger King, it's been abandoned since 2024. It's still the building's still there, but it has been abandoned, and that Church's Chicken has been there probably like 30 years. I was shocked that it's out of business.
Imperial and Western, Westmount area.
So basically, you have the Church's Chicken, then you had the Burger King, and where the Burger King was, it kind of overlapped with where the Rio Theater was at. So just a little. I didn't realize the Burger King was gone.
No, yeah, it's been gone for some time now.
And they put it, and then when I saw the kidney healthcare clinic right there on Imperial and Western, that just let me know that they're there to service the black community who have kidney problems because of diabetes and not eating right
And drinking.
and drinking. There you go. So it's a 2-story building, and it's where the Rio Theater once stood. Okay, and now we also talked about another theater. I said something about 4th Ave. I said I think it's the 5th Ave, and it actually was called the 5th Avenue Theater.
Fifth Avenue Theater, but it was two on Manchester.
Yeah, well, the one that I was thinking of, and the one that Donald Archie and some of the OG West Side Crips told me they used to go to that 5th Ave Theater. And that's on Manchester, and now it's a church. They stripped it still has the marquee, so if you pay attention and you drive by 5th Ave in Manchester, you could recognize the building that used to be the theater, but now it's a church. It's a Latino church. It's got all kind of church signage on there, and the 5th Ave, which it had a symbol 5th Ave on the top. They painted over it, but yeah, that's an iconic theater that now it's a church.
Right.
And that was the one that I think Donald Archie even told me in one of my interviews that they got into it with the Chain Gang a lot over that theater.
Yeah, like chain gang that eventually became Eaglewood Family. They went at it with the West Side Crips real heavy.
Now, do you know if this is true? This is what Donald Archie or Judson Baycott told me. I don't remember which West Side Crip told me this, but they said that the Chain Gang was with the gunplay, and that's what caused them to go into the gunplay. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, because the chain gang members was older than the West Side Crips.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like before it was West Side Crips, the chain gang was there. And then they a lot older, you know what I'm saying, sophisticated with it. So, but yeah. Cause I heard that too when you dig into the history.
Yeah, and I guess when you're talking about 1969, 1970, gunplay was a huge thing, as opposed to today. Everybody playing with guns now.
Yeah, I think back then they probably swinging a chain. They come with a bat. You feel me? They knuckling up back then.
Definitely. Another fact check from last week. I mentioned the LAPD officer Stephanie Lazarus killed Sherry Rasmussen. I believe I said 81. When I went and looked it up, it was 86. And check this out. She went to prison, Stephanie Lazarus, the former LAPD officer, I want to say 2010, either 2009 or 2010, because she was a young police officer at the time. This was early in her career, Munchie.
How old though?
In her early
Like,
20s.
so they saying she fell out under the juvenile law or something?
There you go. She was eligible for the YOP, Youth Offender Program.
Hmm.
So she was eligible for parole in like 2022 or 2023. The board, the prison board, the three members approved her release. They sent it to Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom said, "No, I'm not signing this." He said, I want the whole board to review this. I think the whole board is 21 people. He said, I want a 21 board review. Forget about this 3 board review. I want the entire board to review it." And then they rescinded her release. So she's still sitting in there. I think she got denied for 3 or 5 years. So, but she's got another date coming up. But yeah, isn't that interesting that a police officer that killed someone in her early 20s was eligible for YOP?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the law retro, huh?
I mean, the law's for everybody.
Since she got charged within that time, the YOP thing came up, I mean, in effect, and it's retro. I didn't think it'd be retro based on she did the crime back then, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ironic that a police officer, former cop, is utilizing the YOP for early release. But the governor wasn't having it. And I felt, I was reading the article about it when I was editing our last episode, and I was like, I'm for the YOP program.
Me too.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking, when you're a police officer, I don't care if you're 22 or 23, you're held to a different standard. You went through police academy training. You went through all of the psychological evaluations. You went through the written test. You went through the background test. You did a lot more than the average person does for this job.
She would have did that regardless, police or not. That crime.
You talking about she was a killer?
Her feelings was involved. She killed her ex-husband, new girlfriend.
No, she killed her. It wasn't never her husband. It was just a boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend.
New wife.
Yeah. So she would have did that regardless, police or not. The choice of weapon probably would have been different.
Yeah. She would have. She had it in her to where she couldn't deal emotionally with a breakup.
Right.
And she was willing to kill. And she went to Sherry's house. She went to her house. It wasn't like they bumped into each other, got into it at a restaurant or a bar. No, she went to her house, knocked on the door, went in there, got to squabbling with her, and then shot her.
Murder one.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Sherry biting her on the arm, oh no, I'm sorry, Stephanie Lazarus, the cop, bit Sherry on the arm. She bit Sherry on the arm, and they swabbed that bite back in 1986.
Due to DNA, man. DNA be closing cases.
Yeah.
DNA is the real detective. These detectives don't be doing nothing.
So, updates. Big U's request to go to his son's funeral, Jabari's funeral, was denied, but we all knew that.
Nah, but they approved it.
Who? Okay, I saw a couple.
They approved it, then denied it.
I looked at the paperwork on Pacer.
So it was never approved.
I don't think it was ever approved. I saw a few videos that said that, but when I watched those videos, there was no proof of it. So what I did was I tapped into my Pacer Connect. I said, "Hey, I need to know if this thing got approved or denied," and immediately I got an email back. It was denied. So I don't understand any.
I just want to know, was it ever approved, or they just gave you the final call?
Well, the decision was to come down on the 17th. So there was, so I don't know why. And here's what I didn't understand. People were doing videos on this before the date even of the hearing. I was seeing videos that were dated like November 13th. Big U got approved. I'm like, how is that possible? The hearing date hasn't even come yet. I think people are just hitting like clickbait titles.
No, I heard a video and they was talking about the stipulations, like he got to come and no communicating with it, like they knew something for sure. Yeah,
I saw a couple of those videos, but I'm gonna have to say that there's no confirmation on that. He was denied, and
that's what we thought anyway, that they was gonna deny him. But when I heard that it was approved, which is more than likely fake news, I was shocked.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to get that approval, but. All right, another update. We talked about that San Ramon jewelry heist with 26 guys. One of the guys that was arrested, Jimmy Mac Ray, 27 years old, they gave him an $8 million bail.
Damn, that's hard.
That's like if you murdered like 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, $8 million bail. So I thought that was a newsworthy update on that.
And he ain't going nowhere.
Nah, they don't want him out at all. He's the one that got caught with $100,000 of the jewelry.
He must got 2 strikes already.
Yeah, but he said he wasn't there. He didn't do it, and the burden is on the state to prove that he was there. I don't know how you prove that guys with masks that were masked up and
What a top tier lawyer, you could get receiving stolen property.
yeah, he's gonna have to fight that. But I I don't know if they caught him in the car with the masks. If I don't know how far the evidence goes because they haven't released all of that. But I always wonder, how do you prove somebody that was masked up did it? I had a case where a dude was robbing Brinks trucks and he was on video where his shirt came up above his waist a little bit and you could see the tattoos on his back. And they used the tattoos on his back to link him. And part of the defense was like, this is a generic tattoo, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody can have this tattoo. And it quite didn't work in the favor of the defense on that argument. But yeah, he was masked up. And I guess it's pretty difficult to prove that someone masked up was at a scene of a crime. So I don't know how they're going to do it here, but I'm sure the prosecutors are figuring that out right now, man. All right, so your boy PFace, man. You've been going. You went hard on one of your videos. You went hard on and then you went hard on him and the Foo Community. Then in your content, you dropped a clip that I had never seen of an interview that the Foo Community did, where basically they were throwing. Well, the guy that was being interviewed was throwing the Mayate word around like it was nothing, and then tried to correct himself real quickly and say, "My bad, I went into my gangster mode." But he was referring to black folks. And for those who don't know, Mayate is the Mexican derogatory term for black people. It's almost like the N-word.
All right.
It's your host, Rich Homie Juan, the top fool. And today, man, we got real special guests, man. I don't just say that. Usually we got rappers, content creators. Well, you fall in that bubble, right? Content creator. But I brought my boy over here because he's really outspoken, and I feel like he could spit a lot of game for the community, So no introduction, Ricardo Aguilar, I appreciate you coming through.
My boy, on the contrary, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys having me on your platform and inviting me here. It's an honor to me, so thank you. Yeah, half of my team is in Northern California. Some of the agents in there were Norteños at one point, but we don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
I don't live that life anymore.
Yeah, so of course. No, I get it, of course.
They don't care. We laugh sometimes.
And with that being said, like, while you were inside, like, were there some type, if you could speak on it, if not, I respect it, were there some type of, like intense altercations? That you had,
absolutely. We went at it. We had a riot with the Mayates. The blacks. Excuse me, I didn't mean to be derogatory that way, but with the black, just the hood came back into
right.
But we went at it with the blacks. Yeah, we had a little bit of an issue with the blacks. Over the paisas, they started drinking Pruno, got drunk, and they started acting up with the blacks. So then they jumped, we jumped.
Classic.
Yeah. So the paisas went at it, and then we jumped in with them, and then we had a big ass riot with the with the blacks over it. Yeah, I mean, naturally they lost. We always outnumber them, you know what I mean? But still, they locked us down for I think 60 days. We didn't have visits, nothing.
No shit.
Nothing, nothing. No tienda, no clecha. You couldn't go to school. You couldn't nothing. It was pretty bad. Yeah.
So, how'd you find that clip, and why did you tie that into your commentary against PFace?
Because PFace, he went on Can Capone and you know what I'm saying, he voiced his grievance about how I reacted to him using a racial slur. You know what I'm saying? I kind of rebutted that on No Jumper, and then he kept it going. So now he's on the Foo Community, and I just feel them dudes on the Foo Community is older members, and they didn't carry that right as far as that whole dialogue or whatever. So being that I felt that way, I dug deeper, you know what I'm saying? And then I ran across, shout out Political Views, and he reacted to what I did, and he said, yeah, because the Foo Community, they got content, where people using racial slurs, and, so I hit him like, man, where's that? He sent me the video, and I found the timestamp, and there you go. The dude, I forget his name, he said, yeah, we had a riot with the Mayates. Oops, I went back to the hood me. My bad, but I'm like, but he came off as, you know what I'm saying, as of is in his regular talk, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that ain't no oops.
Yeah.
Like if you far removed from stuff like that, you don't even speak like that. You know what I'm saying?
Now, when you found that clip of him saying Mayate, did you find any other Latino platforms that were critical of him using that word?
No. And even after that, I guess on Comparators, I guess it's called whatever. I ain't shouting it out. On Comparators platform, he talking to two of the dudes that's on the Foo Community, and they said, well, I felt the dude that said Mayate, he took what's the word? He took he took like he what's the word? He not took responsibility, but
accountability.
Yeah, accountability because he corrected himself. Nah, that's not saying oh my bad, I went back to the hood meat. That's not taking accountability. You know what I'm saying? But what I came with as far as PFace, I'm gonna leave him alone because he's young and I see he's not media trained and he's not equipped to even have these type of conversations. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So I'm gonna leave PFace alone. But them Full Community dudes, I'm on them. But PFace, he not media trained, and I ain't gonna say young because that's not an excuse. But what he got to learn when you did this viral video, you recorded yourself and you said the N word with the hard ER, it's always gonna resurface and always gonna revisit you. So just have a rebuttal ready for that and be savvy enough to move past that question because it's gonna keep on coming up just like Chris Brown with the Rihanna thing. Or imagine if P. Diddy get out tomorrow. Any interview he have is gonna come up about this old whatever you want to call this he got going on. It just happens. So buckle up, PFace. But I'm leaving PFace alone, bro, because he's a kid and he's not media trained and he don't really know how to articulate himself well and get his point across. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is he 18 actually?
He 18.
Yeah, that would be like me trying to debate with one of my sons.
Right.
You know, and I'm only going to get so far, and if I'm having a conversation with an 18-year-old, it's more to
educate,
give him some game. Yeah,
right.
Educate, not to like go back and forth with. So he might. I know you're younger than me, but you're older than him significantly.
Right.
You're almost twice his age, or you are twice his age, right? Yeah.
Man, my daughter older than PFace, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm gonna leave him alone because that's too easy to you know what I'm saying. But it just ticked me off how he went on Camp Capone and the things he said, and then he went on the Full Community and said something. So you know what I'm saying. But like I said, I'm gonna focus on these Full Community dudes. They supposed to be mature adults. They don't sound like it. They don't make sound decisions, and there'll never be none of the ones in these jailhouses communicating with the opposite race or collective to get anything settled because y'all don't know how to do that. I could tell by how y'all dealing with the PFace situation, and then y'all just not there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't think age is an excuse.
I'm not giving that an excuse.
Some people are saying he was 12 years old, 13 years old, but I mean, you understand the consequences and the ramifications of certain words. Like you mentioned, Chris Brown, when he put hands on Rihanna, that was in 2009.
Right.
Bro was born in 89, so he was probably 19 or 20 when he did that. His youthfulness is not an excuse for what he did to Rihanna. Period. You know.
And he got to live with it.
And he's got to deal with it for the rest of his life.
And he dealing with it. You know
yeah. And I think he's did a good job. I remember when Chris Brown first did that, I was at a Diddy party. I went to my first and only. I mentioned it before. I went to my my first and only Diddy party, and I was there in the daytime. It was an all white Diddy party, and everybody was coming in through the front door. So if you were standing by the front door, you got to holler at everybody. I hollered at all kind of people. Even your girl Lauren London was pregnant in the front, right?
Okay.
So Chris Brown was pulling up. I was like, oh, see, Breezy's about to come in. This is right after the Rihanna thing. Dude did not come in through the front door. They ushered him through a side door, and then he went into the house, into Diddy's house. Because if you came in through the front door, you basically were conversing with everybody who was there. And there were cameras in the front. People were trying to get content. He avoided that. And I guess that's the right thing to do. You either going to face it forward or avoid it. At that time, he wasn't ready because it was fresh. It was very fresh.
Right.
So he didn't want to deal with nobody. And but PFace is going to have to learn how to answer that question in a humble way to where people start to love him, like him, appreciate him, rather than dislike him.
Right.
And he needs to have the right people around him to say, hey, this is what you say when you use this, when they ask you about using this word, you know. And there's different ways to handle it. But you know, yeah, you probably should just focus on. I want to know who the guy is that said Mayate. Who was that guy?
His name started with an R, and he try to act like he important. He bring up El Chapo. He said, I've been in the same room with presidents and senators, and like he act like he just this important dude. I have no, you know what I'm saying?
And the other question that I thought was really interesting, and you mentioned it, and they mentioned it, is they didn't want to even censor it or beep it or edit it out because I thought it was a bad look to just let it play.
But one of the dudes that was talking to Compton, he said, I don't believe in censoring.
Yeah, I heard that.
But nah, bro, that's saying that you condoning what he talking about.
Exactly. In fact, every network and every TV channel will censor the N-word whenever it's said. You will never hear the N-word on any show because they don't want to offend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that either you edit it out or you beep it out.
Yeah, but then they say, yeah, everybody says some reason. Yeah, Munchie, I'm pretty sure he dissed the man. You can't find nowhere where I diss any Hispanics, bro. Maybe a hood, maybe dissing a hood, a Hispanic hood, not the race, bro. Never.
Yeah, I remember when Big Stretch from Fruittown Brim did his second interview, and he was dissing the Crips, and he dissed the Crips like, let's say, 20 times in that interview, and I edited out most of them. But if you watch what I posted, I couldn't edit out every single time he used a derogatory term for Crips. It was impossible.
Well, when it comes to that, because I had this idea of doing this documentary, Tiny Lokes and YGs, and I wanted to be raw. So if the Bloods dissing the Crips, okay. If the Crips dissing the Blood, because I want to be, you know what I'm saying? They talk, especially if you interviewing that generation that's Tiny Lokes, and they not that's what they do, you know what I'm saying? But I was trying to capture all the raw thing and then put a storyline behind it, you know what I'm saying? Cause shit, as gangbangers, you don't even grow old.
Yeah.
So like grow to be old. So like I had a whole little, what's I'm gonna call it? I don't know how I got away from even. I'm trying to put that in play, but
that's a great conversation to have about when there's disrespect expressed in an interview or when you're doing a vlog. What should we do as creators when we put our final product out there? And I'll give you an example. I was at the Venice Showline Hood Day in 2014 or 2015, and a lot of the youngsters had T-shirts with their enemies whacked out, right, on the shirts. So I took pictures of everything. I took literally over 100 photos, and I created a photo album and put it on my website back then. And of course, some of my photos showed the shirts with the names with the hoods whacked out. And of course, it was the young dudes that were wearing these shirts. Let me emphasize that. So Stan Muhammad, if you're from Venice, you know who Stan Muhammad is. But he's a pillar in the Venice community. He hit me up. He said, Alex, I just went through that webpage with all the pictures from the Hood Day from from Venice Showline, but I'm gonna need you to take down about 3 or 4 of those pictures. And at first I was like confused. I was like, what? And you got pictures of them wearing shirts with different hoods whacked out. And for a moment I challenged him. I was like, well, that's what y'all did. That's what was represented, and I'm just representing what y'all represented. But after a lengthy conversation with Stan Muhammad, I decided to take those 3 or 4 pictures down because I didn't want to add fuel to the fire. You understand what I'm saying, Munch?
right.
I didn't want to create. It's already tension there, but I don't want StreetGangs.com's pictures to add to more tension. So I took those pictures down out of respect for Stan Muhammad, who all he wants to see is the homies from Venice Showline have a peaceful day without any negativity.
Hey, well, in that case, I would let some time get under it and then post it.
Yeah. Today I could post those pictures now that are like 10 years old, right?
Because that'll be a part of history.
Yeah.
Gang history, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But it goes to the present day, like what do we put out there as creators and keep everything peaceful? Because we're not just creating in a regular media lane. We're creating in a lane where there's violence, where there's murders, where people go to prison for life. So I think that being creators in this genre, it demands a certain type of responsibility.
Hey, but when they kind of dissing hoods and them shirts and stuff like that, I don't look at that like with the racial thing. Like, cause like if you're doing this type of content, you want it to be authentic, and that's what they, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, race is completely different.
Race is completely different, bro.
Yeah.
Like you got people that's black that's not a part of the gang culture, and they're not taking part of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's different. If you got this shirt on, you from there, and you dissing them dudes over there, and they from there, but when you dissing the whole race, I'm dissing the Mexicans, whites, blacks, whatever, Asians, then like I'm disrespecting the whole collective, the whole group. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just like this little gang over here.
Yeah, I'm working on a project about the Pico Union community during the 70s and 80s. And some people might be surprised that this was a predominantly Mexican American community for years. And then around the 80s, Central Americans start to move in. We're talking about people from El Salvador and then eventually Honduras and Guatemala. Can you believe that the Mexicans had an issue with the El Salvadorans that were moving in the community? And there was, I don't want to say racial tension because they're not races, they're different ethnicities, but a lot of the conflict in the Pico Union area was because we're Mexican and you're El Salvadoran, and this El Salvadorans were being oppressed. I can't think of a better word, but they were being oppressed by the Mexicans. So, this is just the Pico Union area. I can't speak for other communities, other neighborhoods around LA, and I'm sure there are Mexicans in different parts of LA that get along with the Central Americans. But right in the Pico Union area, which is not too far from this studio, there is a history of conflict of Mexicans oppressing El Salvadorans.
It's a well-known rivalry. Like if you get it wrong and call it El Salvadorian or Mexican, they get offended.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I think today, I'm talking about the 70s, really the 80s.
So what you saying? You think it got better?
I think it definitely got better because now these gangs have both ethnicities in them. There's a mixture now of Mexicans and Salvadorans in the same gang, even though a lot of the gangs around MacArthur Park and Pico Union started off as predominantly El Salvadoran, like MS-13. MS-13 is Salvadoran. What's another one? There's another one over there. Crazy Riders. Is it Crazy Riders? Yeah, Crazy Riders.
I always get Crazy Riders and Easy Riders confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Playboys down Pico, the Drifters, a lot of these gangs became majority Central American, and even 18th Street. 18th Street, which started off as a Mexican gang, now it's got a lot of Central Americans in it.
I used to hear about Drifters a lot in Juvenile Hall because they beef for the gang of the West LA gangs.
So I think today the whole thing about Mexican El Salvadoran conflict may have lessened, and then even in the Mexican Mafia, they've made at least three El Salvadorans. There's like 3 El Salvadorans in the Mexican Mafia.
You know what's funny? As far as they culture, a white boy get made, a Salvadorian, a Mexican get made. If you a black from a Mexican gang, you will never move up the chain. Ever.
There's been one black Mexican Mafia member in the history of the organization.
What year was this?
A long time ago.
What year? 80 something?
Nah, before that. This was like, I'm going to say he was made either late 60s or early 70s.
Yeah, never happened again.
Yeah. His name was Cheneno. And that's the only one. The only one. Out of 500 guys in the history of the organization, there's been about 500 people since 1957 to the present. One black dude.
And he's not living, right?
I actually tried to look him up maybe a month ago, and he is deceased, but his brother's alive. His brother is alive. I was thinking of following up with Cheneno's brother.
Is his brother Southsider?
Nah, his brother's a black dude, but I saw his brother did like 20 years in the feds.
Okay.
But I don't think his brother's a Southsider. But yeah, I don't think we'll see any. I mean, it hasn't happened throughout the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. Now we're in the 2020s. It don't look like there'll ever be a black dude
ever
since Cheneno, and that was like 1971 or something.
Right.
You know, so, and back then, you know, the race thing wasn't as strong as it is as it got in the 90s. I want to say 90s maybe was the peak. The 90s, early 2000s was the peak of racial conflict, but I could be wrong.
What, behind the wall or just overall?
Overall, streets
Okay.
and behind the wall. You know, I don't know, but hey, we still got Long Beach. Long Beach is a terrible example if we're trying to say black and browns are getting along. It used to be Compton, you know. Now I think it's shifted to Long Beach.
I'm gonna say the whole harbor area, but Long Beach especially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. There's a Latino rapper who probably was one of the most viral dudes in 2019, 2020 that was hanging out with a black gang. 9 trade gangsters in New York City. Tekashi69. And Tekashi69 just had his home invaded by 4 masked men. And the video footage of that invasion looks pretty treacherous. It looks like these guys were there to do some real damage. I want to say Tekashi69 is lucky he wasn't there.
harassed.
Basically, I mean, he has a nice house. It looks like he's got this marble floor, nice sized kitchen, and these 4 guys come in there. One guy has his mom pinned in the kitchen, and the other 3 guys are just walking around like they're looking for something. And I don't know what it is. I think maybe this trolling is catching up to him, or do you think it's the snitching?
Little of both.
A little bit of both.
Little of both. But my thing is, if you get on a stand on known gang members and come home and talk ish about it, why you don't got security on your mom?
Yeah. I mean, how the video doesn't show how these people got in the house. I don't know if they just knocked on the door, but
It's a home, right? It ain't a condo. It's a home, right? Like a house.
I don't know what the outside looks like. It could be a condo. It could be a spacious condo. But here, let me read the article from TMZ. The title says, "Mom held against her will after home invaded by gunmen." Maybe this article will give us more information. Tekashi69's Florida home was stormed by 4 gunmen hunting for his cash and car keys, and held his mother against her will during the terrifying invasion. The chilling incident went down Sunday night when the embattled rapper, 60-year-old mother, was at his residence and wait up, let me read that again. The chilling incident went down Sunday night when the embattled rapper's 60-year-old mother was at his residence and was suddenly confronted by the armed men. They need to do a grammar check on these TMZ articles. 6ix9ine tells us he was not at home at the time. Instead, he was live streaming with Jack Doherty when the home invasion played out. You'll recall Doherty was also arrested Saturday on drug possession and other charges. The Palm Beach Sheriff's Office tells TMZ they were dispatched to the rapper's home for home invasion robbery burglary in progress. When arrived, deputies made contact with several individuals inside the residence who reported that 4 armed masked men entered the home with guns. Police said Tekashi's mother was physically held outside while remaining suspects ran inside and ransacked the property, demanding cash and keys. Cops searched Tekashi's home with a K9 unit, found no suspects who possibly drove off in a vehicle before deputies arrived. Well, obviously. The article says that Tekashi's mother was outside, but there is footage where it looks like she's in the kitchen being like watched by one of the 4 guys.
Maybe she started outside and they walked her in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So this could be, I gave 2 choices, but there's a third choice. This could be because of snitching. That could be because of trolling, but it looks like they were just there to rob. They were looking for money and the car keys or something. I don't know. Or they targeted him because of the snitching and trolling, and they said, let's go rob. He's an easy target to go rob.
I don't feel for him at all. I mean, the mom didn't get hurt, but and I don't feel for him. And I think when you do things like he did, you should have security on your mom at all times.
Yeah,
you got enough money.
From the article, it sounds as if the mom was just visiting the home and doesn't live there.
Yeah, I don't think they was expecting her to be there. Being that he on live stream, they could look at him live and see that he gone.
So maybe that's what it was. It wasn't. Maybe they never intended to target him at all. They just wanted. They saw that he was in location A. Hey, let's go to his house. That's in location B and go rob it. That's why a lot of these celebrities, their houses get robbed when they're like taking a trip
on tour or something like that.
Yeah, and they're on Instagram Live talking about, yeah, I'm over here in this city, and people know, okay, you got a house over in this city. Let's go get it. Let's go. And happens all the time.
So we know for sure he don't live behind the gate.
And I always tell. I remember we would go on vacations, my wife and I, and we're on the plane, and she's posting, we're on the plane, and I'm like, can you delete that? You telling the whole world that we're not home. I don't want to get robbed. I don't need that. And for a long time, she didn't understand that.
Women they love to take pictures. That's what you feel me? You ruined the whole experience. Like, she probably like, what?
Hey, I love to take photos too. I'm the king of photographing, but I am not going to post my vacation while I'm on vacation. I might post it like a few months later. I might say, hey, a month ago I went here. But I don't. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to post where you're at when you're there. It's just it's a safety issue to post where you at when you're there.
Yeah, I just left Atlanta last month. I posted everything when I got back.
Yeah, and this could be the reason why. I don't know. I'm just speculating that he was on live with this dude named Jack Doherty, and these 4 dudes said, "Hey, let's go to his house."
I think the intention was to get the money on, because they know he was on live, and these dudes be on live for hours, so they got more than enough time to travel there, do their thing, get out. Maybe not. They wasn't expecting nobody to be there, but in case they was blicked up, and yeah, you can't commit felonies like telling to get on the stand and then like whatever, and then you just protect your mama first. Forget you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it doesn't seem like Florida is treating Tekashi69 all that well.
Hey, Florida is ahead of New York and California. They actually getting up on these snitches, like whooping them out of the speedos at 24-hour fitness. He might as well leave Miami, Florida, wherever he need to move and maybe go to Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii's cool. I like Hawaii.
Yeah, go to Hawaii.
Hey, but Hawaii got some gangsters too. So
yeah, the Samoans out there go get up on them. Hawaiians and but no. He need to get up out of Miami because 2 strikes you out.
Hey, in Hawaii, in my opinion, Hawaii has the best squabblers in America.
Hey, look, and then somebody close to him gave him up. Hey, look, they didn't even want to wait till he go to. Well, I don't think he's going. He's supposed to turn himself to go to jail, but whatever. But like, they couldn't even wait for him to go to jail to hit his house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But remember when he got assaulted at that gym? They arrested some of those guys. I wonder whatever happened to their cases.
Oh, I didn't know nobody got caught.
Yeah, the 3. Here, I'll pull it up real quick.
I wonder is Tekashi cooperating on that?
Okay, this is from CNN. This is back in 2023. For those who don't know, the reason why I said Florida's not treating them too well, because in 2023, as Munchie said, he got hands put on him when he was in the gym, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so here's an article from CNN. It says 3 suspects have been arrested in connection with the alleged assault and robbery of rapper Tekashi69 at a South Florida gym last week. This is from...
Damn, they only got away for a week?
Yeah. The suspects were Rafael Medina, 43, Octavius Medina, 23. Is that a father and son? And Anthony Maldonado, 25, were arrested by Palm Beach sheriffs. 6ix9ine was transported from the LA Fitness gym to a hospital on March 21st after being injured when an altercation occurred inside the business between several individuals. Lance Lazaro, 6ix9ine's attorney, said in a statement that the performer was attacked in the sauna at a gym by 3 or 4 thugs who beat him up. He tried fighting back. What you gonna say?
Whooped him out of Speedos. Like, for real.
Oh, yeah. He had cuts to his face and bruises. Employees heard the disturbance, and the perpetrators fled. All 3 suspects are being held in the Palm Beach County Jail on preliminary charges of robbery and battery, according to jail records. So I don't know what the follow-up is on these 3 guys, but yeah, that was 2023.
Free them, man. And how you rob somebody in a towel? He didn't have nothing to rob. They just whooped on him.
Yeah.
So they, you know what I'm saying? Hey, but free them guys. You know what I'm saying?
Let me see if I can look up
these names.
Rafael Medina and see if there's any resolution.
Shout out to Medinas.
It said, oh, here's another thing. Guess what Tekashi69 did regarding the gym, the LA Fitness?
What's that? Sue LA Fitness?
There you go. There you go.
Did that lawsuit go through?
It's still pending. It's still pending. It says here that LA Fitness Tekashi69 lawsuit, everything we need to know. Rapper Tekashi69 filed the lawsuit against the gym chain LA Fitness. He filed the lawsuit in 2025. So he waited, there's 3-year statute of limitations, so you don't have to sue right away. He had till 2026 to file the lawsuit. So he filed it in early 2025, earlier this year. And it says here that Daniel Hernandez said he was the victim of a violent assault and robbery carried out by 3 known members of the Latin Kings. March of 2023, he is seeking damages in excess of $1 million. Hernandez began, we don't need to know about his rap career. Basically, that's it. They didn't really... The lawsuit alleges that Hernandez was brutally beaten, assaulted, and robbed. Footage of the attack shows Hernandez being struck repeatedly while trying to guard his face. He suffered injuries to his jaw, ribs, and back during the incident. Tekashi69's lawyers said his client was seriously injured in the attack, lost personal property. Also said the attack resulted in pain and suffering, disability, humiliation, medical expenses, loss of income, reduced quality of life. That's all lawsuit terminology. So, yeah, he's got that pending right now.
But earlier, the lawyer said he fought back. He balled up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to get some money. And, I expect some people to do it. Some people probably would just walk away from it and just take the L, right? I walked away from quite a few lawsuits. I'd be wanting to sue people all the time. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. Because it's time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
But he's thinking he's going to get $1 million because 3 people smacked him up a little bit. And it wasn't even that brutal. It wasn't that brutal. They used the word brutal.
And there was no robbery.
I don't even think he got knocked out. I think he just fell to the ground. Like you said, he balled up and just protected himself.
Right.
So.
Right. And he left in the paramedics that he didn't want to leave in his car. He was scared. I believe it.
And it might happen again. He
need to get out of Florida.
Yeah.
It ain't working for you, bro.
I mean, we saw the tragic ending of a well-known snitch from Harlem, man. Alpo, there you go. Alpo got comfortable. He got comfortable. He was supposed to be living in like Maine or...
And he left witness protection.
Connecticut. He was in one of those states way away from New York City where nobody goes to, but he missed Harlem. And I'm not sure. There's some people that said that his shooting had nothing to do with him snitching. It was some other stuff, but who knows? Nobody was ever arrested for it. And they aired him out pretty cold, pretty brutal.
Hey, man, I don't feel nothing for Tekashi. I don't feel nothing. I think he a very selfish person. And, yeah.
You probably feel the same way about Alpo, right?
Right. I feel nothing for him. He had Wayne Perry doing all that dirt for him and told on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know about Wayne Perry, huh?
Yeah, I don't feel nothing for Alpo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right.
And I stand on snitches separate people from their families. You know what I mean? Let the police do their job.
And then also, I always want to remind people, when police are able to flip people to become snitches,
they don't respect them.
They don't respect them, but it also will create a whole nother path of violence after.
Right.
You're creating violence to solve violence.
So do your own job.
You're using violence, which is the result of flipping someone into a snitch, to solve some other violence. So some of these snitches end up in trunks, or their family might end up victimized, or a variety of things. Well, the police should take some responsibility in that. Figure out another way to solve the crime. They got so much technology right now. But of course, the number one way to solve a crime is to get somebody to tell. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But telling creates more violence. I can even go back to the FG situation. FG got told on for selling 4 ounces of cocaine. They took FG off the streets, and after FG was removed off the streets, a whole war started where multiple people were shot and killed. Was it worth it? You sent the guy to jail for 4 ounces of dope, had somebody inform on him, only for multiple murders to result from his absence. It's counterproductive, Mr. FBI. It's counterproductive. All right. I wanted to have a conversation just briefly, I don't know, about this Lil Brazy tricky situation with the homosexual allegations and the police, I guess, blasting them. And not so much about them two particularly, but what are the consequences, the ramifications, the backlash for these two guys, Lil Brazy and Tricky, for this type of information being exposed about what they were doing in private?
I mean, when something like that come out, that's humiliating to that fraction, to that gang. You know what I'm saying? So shoot, I mean, should they get taken out or we ain't dealing with them like you not a part of this no more. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, let me stop you there and ask. This is not a Denver Lane thing.
No,
because I would suggest, and this might not, some people might not like what I'm about to say, but you can find this type of homosexual behavior probably in almost every set.
Unannounced or no, because it's no bandits and weirdos in every section, bro. And then there's people,
and then there's just homosexual people.
Right, creeping and crawling.
In fact, I had an interesting interview with a homosexual that is known. He's not in the closet, from Rollin 40's Crip, but at the last minute he changed his mind. And I really wanted to do this interview because I wanted to show, like, this guy is not uncommon. Homosexuality exists in almost all segments of society, in the military, on the battlefield,
police force,
in the police departments, and even amongst the Bloods and the Crips. I'm sorry to tell y'all, even amongst the Bloods and the Crips, there's homosexual activity. It could be the most gangsterous dude, and unfortunately, I guess the stigma caused him to rethink doing the interview. Even though it was already known amongst his circle, he decided not to do it.
Yeah, but I can imagine the dude from 40s that was going to agree to speak with you, that the 40 community came down on him because, that's going to make them look away.
But I don't think it does. If there's a member, like these two dudes, they're from Denver Lane. It has nothing to do with Denver Lane. It has to do with them two, and that's the way it is. And unfortunately, what you had said, they might get taken out or they might be ostracized. But what if everything else about them is solid?
Well, what I learned coming up, like even in school, the dudes that was openly gay, they never got picked on. It was the dudes that act like they wasn't. The dudes that was openly gay, it'd be the one dude, and they got a group of females, 4 or 5, they hang out with every day, and nobody bothers them. It's the dudes that's acting like they not. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're talking about the ones that don't act feminine. Because the ones that are open, it's they have a feminine way about carrying themselves, right?
If you gay, period, and everybody know it, and then you hang with these 4 girls, Brittany, Sandra, whatever, like no, the gay dudes never get, the ones that's like, they don't get bothered.
You're talking about the ones that are like, who's homeboy from the LA report card?
Dejan Paul?
Dejan Paul.
But guess what? This is what I want to know about Dejan Paul, because he went to Inglewood High School.
Yeah.
Did y'all know he was gay in high school? I don't know if people knew that.
But I could tell he's obviously gay.
I can't see, and I was able to tell. I don't know why people don't know. Jumper act surprised when he came out and said it.
Yeah, but see, the difference between someone like Dejan Paul and maybe a gang member is that it's not obvious that when you look at them, they're homosexual. There's some people that as soon as you talk to them, as soon as you converse with them, they're homosexual.
Right.
You don't even got to ask. Right. It's a stereotyping that we do, but sometimes that stereotyping is right on. It's right on.
So all right, so imagine if the Jean Paul was proclaiming he wasn't gay, and everybody is clear, like, boy, you know what I'm saying? You rainbow. It would be more of a thing with him getting like poked at.
Well, you know what? There are some dudes that have a feminine flair to them that are not gay. There are some, like, for example, I used to watch these old Tupac Shakur interviews. I used to see a lot of feminine gesturing. If you really study Tupac, he comes off with a feminine energy, but he's 100% heterosexual. There's nothing about him that was homosexual, but I used to see him in these interviews. And that's because he was raised with his mama. He had his auntie. He was around a lot of women. So there's a lot of black folks that are raised by single moms that have a lot of sisters, and all you see your whole life is women until you're, of age. And if you're around a lot of women, you're going to pick up on their traits. That don't mean you're gay. That don't mean you're gay.
Yeah, the traits you older than me, so I think you seen more Tupac footage and videos than I did, but
Go watch the one when he was in high school, y'all. He gave one in high school, and then go watch a couple like right before he died, and you'll still see some of the same mannerisms. Hey, I look at a person like Luther Vandross, R&B singer who died a few years back. When I was a kid, we used to listen to Luther Vandross, but as an adult, I'm looking at the dude, and it's clear, obvious that he was homosexual. He never admitted it. He never came out the closet. But Luther Vandross was a homosexual, just based off of
his mannerisms,
the way he talked, and of course the rumors confirm it.
Okay, oh, so his rumors about it.
Yeah, as I became an adult, you would hear the rumors. All his boyfriends that he had, and then all his songs. Here's another thing.
Oh man, don't ruin people. Hey, so I listened to the Luther Vandross. Hold on, what is it?
Okay, you listen.
This world was mine.
That one.
It would mess with my imagination to know that song was written for a man.
Okay, check it out. There's a lot of artists like Hall & Oates from the 80s. They did love songs that you would think were ballads for women. But pay close attention to Luther Vandross's lyrics. There's nothing in his lyrics that is she, her, that are about a woman.
His pronouns is effed up, huh?
It's absent. It's unisex. It's universal. So of course, when I was a teenager when he came out. Of course, his songs were banging. Never too much, never too much. Down, 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 down. You're thinking he's singing about a girl, but then you study the lyrics. There's nothing about she, or her in the songs, and it was pretty obvious that he was homosexual, even though he never admitted it. He died without ever coming out the closet, and that's the thing about guys in gangs. Guys in gangs rarely ever will come out the closet. There's a few of them. That have. And there's that conversation in professional sports. How many professional athletes have come out?
One did.
One did.
And I don't think he in the NFL no more.
Nah, because he wasn't a star.
Right.
That's what it was. And the problem is, if you come out, then what? You're going to lose your endorsements.
You got locker room problems at that point.
Yeah, you lose your endorsements, or, it might impact you negatively. But here's what I would say. Look what Kobe had to go through when he got accused of raping a woman.
Right.
Yeah, he lost everything. All his endorsements were lost, but it only lasted like a year. And maybe 2-3 years later, people forgot about it. He overcame.
Just proven not guilty, though.
Nah, the case was just dismissed.
I mean, it's small difference.
Yeah. But the allegation never goes away. And then, of course, the case was dropped because the witness didn't want to do it, and then he paid the witness off. There's all kind of things that happen behind the scenes with Kobe in that. And my point is that Kobe was able to overcome something that seemed like it would ruin your career. I think within 2-3 years, he got all his sponsors back. He got, no one talked about it. Same with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods got caught with 16 girlfriends, and his wife went ballistic on him with a golf.
16 girlfriends.
Yeah, they counted 16 girlfriends that he had at the same time.
How you juggle 16 girlfriends?
I don't know.
You can hit 16 females, but 16 girlfriends is diabolical.
Yeah, I guess when you got that much money, you got them all put up. And his wife had to leave him. She had no choice. It was just too embarrassing. And of course, he made a comeback. He won another major tournament. He won one more. And I don't think people even talk about that anymore with Tiger Woods. You know, so even if a gang member or someone came out, yeah, it'll be tough in the beginning.
No, it ain't going. No, it ain't going away, bro.
It ain't going away.
No, this is a different sport.
Yeah.
No.
But if you're not a snitch, if you're solid,
bro, they alleged to have a graphic video nailing each other. That's not going away, bro. This not no rapping ish or no sport. You know what I mean? This is the gang culture. You know what I mean? Nah, and then what makes it worse, from the person you talking about that you was doing some documentation on that was openly gay, it wasn't no internet back then. You know what I mean? And so many people to pass judgment, comment column. These people were sending out show you typing, and you could be from LA and they talking ish in New York and from Jersey. Like, no. Once you do that, your career is ruined.
Well, I think that we always say someone's career is ruined and somehow they bounce back. Look at I'll give you a great example. Who's the actor that played Iron Man?
I don't watch Marvel movies, so I wouldn't know.
Robert Downey Jr. Now, Robert Downey Jr. was basically a crackhead, drug addict. I mean, he was almost everything in the book. He ended up going to the county jail. They ended up sentencing him to prison. And this was after he had became a star in his 20s and 30s. If you go back and look at the coverage of Robert Downey Jr. when he was catching these cases and getting sent to the pen, his career is over, ladies and gentlemen. This guy will never be a star again. He will never even be in a movie.
Drugs land the troubled actor in prison. 1996, the actor violated his probation when he fled from a detox center. His rehab stemming from several drug and weapons arrests, but a judge sent him back. A year later, he skipped a court-ordered drug test and spent the next 4 months in the LA County Jail. 1999, Downey skipped another drug test and was sent back to rehab. But this time, a judge gave Downey hard time, state prison for nearly 1 year.
Okay, I believe that concludes proceedings.
This guy defied all of the odds. And then Iron Man came after they said his career was over. And he ended up becoming the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
Well, so what you saying? Think drug use and going to jail go in your career?
Well, his career wasn't ended. It's like how about Jussie Smollett? You know the dude that was on that show? The Jussie Smollett dude is the one that faked a hate crime. A black actor that was on what was the show he was on? He faked a hate crime and said they put a noose around his neck when he was in Chicago. He had the police come out and he said he got attacked by some MAGA people, and it turned out he made up the whole thing. He made up the whole thing. So they're saying now, this is current. This is like more current. They're saying his career is over. But I'm here to tell you, I bet you Jussie Smollett, and it'll take some time, but he'll come back and be able to continue his career. So I don't think, what I'm saying is,
listen,
I don't think a gang member's career is ended.
We talking about actors and athletes.
Yeah.
And we talking about gangbangers. When you go to these hood days, these blood picnics or these Crip meetings and gatherings, don't nobody want to stand next to you or even pass the Hennessy bottle to you. We don't know where your mouth been, bro. Like, it's not even cool to pose in a picture with you no more because you was doing ungodly things with the same sex. You know what I'm saying? So it hit different with athletes, the celebrities, and then you go into the gangbang thing.
Okay, but there have been, over the years, known homosexuals, known booty bandits that have been able to still function and still be from their hood, still go to jail and still come back on the streets and still be respected.
And those the tough guys.
Yeah.
Those are tough guys, and people already know, like, man, shit. When everybody else leave. You don't want to be the last person around them. You know what I mean? Like one of those. You know what I'm saying? More likely he taking it. And we not talking about people that's making love with each other.
And some of these guys go back to the 70s. This is not a new thing. This has been around for decades. So I think that, I don't know what's going to happen to these two brothers, but first, my issue with this is, why is the LAPD even blasting their personal life? There should be a lawsuit. These two guys have a lawsuit against the LAPD.
Get your money. But I ain't mad at LAPD, but get your money.
You not mad at them for blasting these dudes?
Not at all.
And here's another thing. You don't think nobody from the lanes knew about these two dudes?
No, look. Scratch if they know about it. But the police pulled up and showed some individuals. A content creator aired it out. The police didn't tell this man to put this on the internet.
But the police already know that's what's gonna happen.
No, I mean, you can't hop in the police mind. Like maybe thinking they was gonna get disciplined or touched in jail. But who told this person to go to the internet with it? You know what I'm saying? So like that lawsuit will fall short. And they could deny all charges.
Yeah, but the police don't have any business spreading that type of information.
I don't think the police was wrong
on the street. No, I mean it's good. I guess if you want to know, you want to know. But I don't. I think it's unethical. I bet you it's a violation of some of the policy within LAPD to blast someone's personal sexual, history.
Well, if that came out that man's cell phone, that cell phone was entered into evidence. So y'all had to send that video out of the cell phone to your own phone. You know what I'm saying? So it is some law being broken. So yeah.
If it became part of a case, then anybody could just request it and get it. But if it got requested, a lot of it would be redacted.
That ain't about that they little activity ain't a part of no case though.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anything should happen to these two brothers.
As far as what? Action as far as they community taking action on them?
Yeah.
Some absolutely supposed to happen.
I think because here's the problem. Every gang's got these. Is it a
man? That's like they keep it, bro. 3 wrongs don't make it right. Like they like somebody would tell like, well, so did it. So did, man. Okay, man. What do that mean? That don't make it right. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm talking about not right or wrong, but this is a practice that exists everywhere.
But it's not accepted
in society.
But it's not accepted. It's not supposed to be going on. So it should be a consequence for that.
Maybe they just get put off the set and that's it. You just get put off the set.
I don't know. That's a different lane issue.
But if they're tough guys like you said, hey,
I didn't say those tough guys.
No. I didn't say you said these are tough. No, with the example that I brought up before, guys from the 70s and 80s still walking around the hood and well respected. You said, well, those are tough guys.
Man, those are the ones that be like, shut up, if I knock you out and go up in you.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? We talking about these ones that's getting exposed and y'all making love. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the tough guy at some point was doing the same exact thing that's on this video.
So if you point out the tough guy, like
look, the tough guy is doing the same exact act as Lil Brazy and Tricky did, but he just tough and he gonna knock you out.
I guess the moral of this story is living your truth. Living your truth, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
And I can tell you that homosexuality amongst gangs is the least researched and the least known thing, but it happens, and I don't want to leave the Latino gangs out. This exists within their hoods too. It's within the Latino community as well. This is not just a blood and Crip thing. This is also a Southside or Sureño thing as well, but nobody wants to talk about it.
I mean, it happens in anything you involved with. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Dwight Howard? Remember him?
Yeah.
Dwight Howard is a weirdo, but I mean, if you mingle with a family and you get caught, the sheets get pulled off you. You no longer part of this organization anymore.
Well, shout out to these two brothers.
Why you shouting them out?
Because I don't want nothing to happen to these guys because the police exposed them.
Well, bow out. Bow out. Say, I'll just walk away. Don't worry about it. I ain't gonna even come back, but I'm gonna keep so and so out my mouth, bro. I ain't with it no more.
I wonder if they are tough guys. I don't know these guys at all, but
I ain't gonna even get no personal input. I'm just gonna speak on it as a, a general context, and that's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
The last thing I'll say on this, if any of you historians that are interested in Los Angeles gang history, you dig deep into this history starting back in the late 60s, early 70s, you're going to find a lot of stories about homosexuality. Many of these stories I've heard of. I know the players, the participants. Many of them, majority of them were living in the closet, but it's not. And here's another interesting thing. Los Angeles had 3 black gay clubs in the 1960s. One, you know where the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles at on the east side where P&B Rock got killed?
Right.
That was a gay club in the 60s, right in that strip mall. There was one in the Low Bottoms on Central Avenue in the 40s. That one was called Buckets of Blood because they always used to get into fights there. And then you know where Black Diamonds is at on the gym on Crenshaw? I think I think it's in the 50s.
Is it still there?
I'm not sure, but where Black Diamonds is at,
I know you're talking about.
that was a gay club in the 60s. So I was shocked to learn of these gay clubs, black gay clubs in the 60s. And then, of course, they all closed down and everybody moved over to, there was one on Pico and Crenshaw called Catch One.
Hey, man, they going to be on you for knowing where all these gay clubs at, bro.
Well, I could tell you this. I was doing research on a well-known gangster.
I know you talking about.
Yeah, I was doing research.
So he was hitting all these clubs?
He was hitting all these clubs. That's the only reason why I know it, because I was writing a book. I was doing research on one of Los Angeles' most notorious gangsters, and he was homosexual. So in my interview, I did countless audio interviews with him to get his story, and the stuff that I learned that was going on in Los Angeles in the 60s. His era was the 60s, pre-Crip, pre-Blood.
They go guess it.
And I was just surprised to learn all this history, you know. So, and it doesn't end in the 60s. It goes into the 70s, all the way to our current time. So, yeah, I got a lot of information on it, but right now I don't want to start, blasting people and putting information out. But I was thinking of writing a book about it at some point, and yeah, it'll all come out in the book for sure. And you already probably know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right, man. We talked about RICO, so many RICO cases, Munchie. I cannot go a week without a RICO case against a black gang in America.
Or Hispanic.
Or Hispanic, yeah. Or Hispanic.
We only talked about one indictment coming down on the white supremacy gang.
Yeah. Let me see. This is a brand new RICO case that just came out of Texas. 21 alleged Arlington Texas street gang members charged with RICO conspiracy, murder, gun, and drug crimes. Brand new case out of Arlington, Texas. Before I read the article, Arlington, Texas is a small town right between Dallas and Fort Worth. I believe it's right in the middle. But I used to go to Dallas and Fort Worth a lot in the 90s, and I was surprised of all the LA gangs in both those towns. One time I was in Fort Worth driving through the countryside, and I saw on the wall 103rd Street, Grape Street, Crip. I was like, 103rd Street, way out here in Dallas. I mean, in Fort Worth. I thought that was crazy, and I still have that photo.
Yeah, the Hoovers out there deep.
Well, the Hoovers are in Houston deep. I don't know about Dallas or Fort Worth. I'm not really familiar with the Hoovers there, but I did a few interviews with some Hoovers in Houston. They definitely got the 5 Deuce Hoovers specifically.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 Deuces are deep in Houston. So Arlington is right in the middle between Fort Worth and Dallas, and if you're driving between the two cities on Highway 30, that looks like, you'll go right through Arlington.
And if you ever went to a Cowboys home game, you in Arlington.
Yeah, and Irving is also in the middle. Irving has one of the professional teams too. I'm not sure.
Probably the Texans.
It might be the Texas Rangers, or the Texans, the football team. Yeah, I don't remember.
Probably so.
Yeah, because there's no more space to build in downtown Dallas or downtown Fort Worth, so they build in these smaller towns that are right outside. So that's what we're talking about. This gang is located right there between these two cities, and I've never seen two cities so big that are like right side by side. Dallas and Fort Worth, they're pretty large cities, and they're right next to each other. All right, so let me get back to the article. 21 alleged violent members. So 21 alleged violent members of the criminal street gang in Arlington, Texas have been federally charged with racketeering, murder, and assault in aid of racketeering. The defendants were charged by complaint on Tuesday, November 4th. As of Friday, November 7th, all were in custody, and 17 began initial appearances that day before a U.S. magistrate judge. Court documents reflect that the FBI and the Arlington Police Department began investigating this Arlington-based criminal street gang known as Kickdoe. Let me spell that for all of y'all. Kiccdoe. Why is it important for me to spell that name, though?
When you spell kick that way, that means you avoiding spelling it Kick, which is derogatory for the Crips. So they got some type of Crip influence.
Kickdoe, Kiccdoe. They began investigating him in April of 2024. So that's a 1.5-year investigation after a Kickdoe gang member was shot and killed on the campus of an Arlington high school. Let me stop right there. This is crazy. They were victimized in a shooting, but the feds decided to investigate them because they slid.
Yeah, they had some type of get back.
They slid. The murder resulted in multiple alleged retaliations shootings between Kickdoe and other Arlington gangs. It just sounds like Kickdoe went to war with everybody. According to court records, Kickdoe members committed a lengthy pattern of murder, drive-by shootings, robberies, assaults, firearms, and trafficking of fentanyl, marijuana, and other narcotics in Arlington and other North Texas cities. Over a 3-year period from 2022, Kickdoe members terrorized many parts of Arlington communities. All right, blah, 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 blah. Last thing I'll say here is Kickdoe gang originated from the 600 block of East Arkansas Lane in Arlington. To demonstrate their association with the gang, members use words such as Kickdoe, KDN for Kickdoe Nation, the number 6 or 600 on social media. And I'll just put a link to the rest of this article here. And the ages of all these guys, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 19, 19, 18, 21, 18, 22, 18, 22, 20, 20, 21, 22, 21, 22, 22, 21. That is a young group of sliders right there.
So that tell me that gang it ain't that old.
Yeah, it's got to be a new gang.
Probably like 10, 15 years old.
And even though they were victimized, it was their response to being victimized is what caused the investigation.
Yeah, they painted the city red. For sure.
Yeah. And I guess the feds were looking for a new RICO, and they said, hey, man, we don't like the way what Kickdoe's doing over there in Arlington. And Arlington police said, well, all right, we're on it, but we need some money. All right, here goes some money to investigate wiretaps, surveillance, 24-hour crews watching them. And, they spent 1.5 years, and now it looks like 17 of them are charged, and 21, my bad, 21 of them are charged, and usually in these cases, maybe 1 or 2 might get acquitted, but for the most part, most of these guys are going down.
Freedom dudes, man, innocent to proven guilty.
I just thought about, there was LA had a RICO case in 1995 of about 14 Mexican Mafia dudes. They all went to trial. 1 got acquitted. 1 got acquitted. You know how the other 13 felt, or the 4, I forget how many, I think it was 14, 15. You know how the other ones that were found guilty felt about the 1 dude who got acquitted?
That's hater shit. If you mad that he went going home.
They were thinking that he might have been telling.
They ain't got no proof of that. I hope they didn't execute him, bro.
They put him on the list. They put him on the list.
That's not cool.
Nah, I was reading that. I was like, wow. Because yeah, there are informants, there are CIs, but to be actually charged and to go as far as being put in front of a jury, I don't think CIs are placed in that position that far. That would be clever, right? If the feds used their CI and even actually had them prosecuted in a trial.
Because then you have to like tell a jury.
Yeah, that's just jury tampering.
Yeah, if he was put on that list and got hit, that ain't straight.
But I realize in a lot of these RICOs, there's always 1 or 2, or depending on how big it is, there's always a guy that gets acquitted. There's always a guy that should never even been charged, And once you get your lawyer saying, hey, my guy didn't do this, my guy didn't do that, and some jurors will come back and say, all right, he's getting acquitted. But yeah, that was just a little.
But you know what though? The thing about having co-defendants, right? What was the bad thing? All right, first the good thing is you got all these lawyers jumping this DA, right? They can all kind of put their heads together. But at the end of the day, the lawyer worked for you and they not worried about the rest. So if they got to throw a little shade at a different one of your co-defendants to help you out, they go do that, bro.
Yeah, they do that.
So that his lawyer might have been saying like, well, they didn't say this about my client.
Yeah.
That was, and that's probably what got him put on that list, bro. And that goes on, bro. But man, I mean, it's a wobbler with that.
No, you're absolutely right, Munchie, because I've worked on a few cases with co-defendants, and I've even told the defense attorneys the strategy for this case. You might have to start. You have to throw your co-defendants under the bus.
But that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's and lawyers don't care. Their job is to defend their client.
Right.
And here's the problem. Sometimes when you have co-defendants, you have lawyers that work together, and all the lawyers get along. But there are situations where there's co-defendants and the lawyers aren't even talking.
Right.
The lawyers aren't getting along. So when it's like that, it's like dog eat dog. That's what it is. Survival of the fittest. And I don't like those cases at all. The first thing I always ask is like, are you in touch with the other lawyers? Yeah, I am. We talk all the time. Cool. Because I'm not for throwing co-defendants under the bus for defense. I think there are ways to do it where you don't throw them under the bus. You just say, look, my client, there's no evidence against my client on this offense. Pay attention, jury. My client's name is Doug. You will hear that Doug's name is never said in any of these wiretaps. You will find that Doug was never at any of the scene of these surveillances.
Man,
that's not throwing the people under the bus.
That's not how lawyers thinking though.
Well, it depends.
Nah, but lawyers not thinking about these other clients, bro. Unless, like you said, they working together.
Yeah, if they're working together, they have to.
Yeah, but I'm saying you,
especially if you have defendants that are like relatives, like you got brothers and cousins, they're all on the same case. Y'all got to do it as a team, But yeah, there's always a couple of people that get acquitted, and I don't believe that the people that get acquitted are working for the police, because they're not going to put you that far into a case, and then they're not going to tamper with a jury. That would have gotten exposed years ago if that's one of the tricks that they use.
All right, real quick, bro. All right, 2009. All right, we went down for some robberies. 4 males and 1 female, right? 4 males and 1 female. Now, the whole time through these court proceedings, it's 3 males in court and this 1 female. The 1 male is not in court, bro. Why? Because his uncle is IPD and called to UCPD, which is UCLA, and evidently called in a favor. Now, we could have been like, he telling, because during the whole thing preliminary, they saying this dude first and last name like he's a part of the case, but he's not in court. But I know for a fact he didn't tell.
But it looked like it, right? On the surface.
Bro, you would have thought like, you know what I'm saying? So it's me, these 2 males and this female, you know what I'm saying? And like the girl told. But like the dude who's not even in court, like he got arrested, but they ended up letting him go, and he never returned back to court, and he didn't tell on nobody. His uncle called in a favor, and here go well, no, it don't even matter to say the officer name, but because his uncle got brought up in a popular documentary dealing with Biggie, his name got brought up. But man,
I wonder how many people have been falsely accused of telling because of little things like that, things that just don't sometimes add up, and your only explanation to why this happened the way it did is because he told. But no, it doesn't necessarily. If you got acquitted, for example, don't mean you told.
So imagine if I was bitter because I'm sitting in this county jail for all of 2009 and then some of 2010, and I'm like, oh, he told, like, you know what I'm saying? But because you got some haters like that. That's just bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll push that line without the proof.
All right.
And I hope people stick to the script. Like, I need to see the proof. Please show me the proof. Just because it happened like that in court don't necessarily mean the dude told,
Man, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that they saying this last name, her last name, my last name, and then the dude that's not even in the courtroom last name. Like, I'm like, why did you even mention him? And y'all didn't even charge. Like, he gone. He at home sleep or something. That was mind blowing.
Yeah. All right, man. I hope we do better when we're trying to accuse someone of cooperating. I hope that we have the evidence, whether it's paperwork or whether it's a credible voice, like FG, for example. Nobody ever says that FG would lie, make a story up, because
You're a credible person.
his history has been credible his whole career. So that means if something comes out of his mouth, you can take it to the bank. You know.
You gotta bring. You got man. They. Where's FG? Where FG? All in the YouTube comments, man. You gotta bring Streets and Scholars back.
Hey, FG is enjoying his motorcycle life, man. He really embraced that lifestyle several years ago, and I think he was just on the peripheries of it for a few years when he came home. And I think
now he fully engaged.
He fully engaged. I think he came home. What year did he come home? He came home in like 2013, 14, somewhere in there. Got him a Harley, was riding it, but shoot, by the time 2020, 2021 came around, he went full time with it.
Shout out FG.
Yeah, and I never really got into the Harley stuff. When you was young, was you into the motorcycles? A lot of black folks, boy, are into those Harleys.
Nah, but if I was A1, I still wouldn't do it because I'll be into like I want the hog with the beat on the back, and I had a shell helmet, and I'm too known to be running around with a shell helmet. I don't want nobody pulling up on the side of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, nah. Shout out FG, man.
If you was able to drive and do all of that, what do you think? What kind of whip would you have? What would be your transportation?
Something fly. I ain't no speed type guy. It ain't gonna be no none. You'll be a part of a car club with like all that. You know what I'm saying? Something fly like. Something fly, but not no need for speed type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, I just bought a Prius the other day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And I think some people make fun of it. When 600 came here once for an interview, he pulled up in a Prius, and I didn't care about it, but I seen some people online making fun of 600 because he was in a Prius.
600 his ass too big to be in a Prius.
Hey, he was huge in that Prius. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then he talk all this money talk, but see you a simple guy, bro. You a bare minimum guy. I don't need all that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not surprised because I know you personally. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't have nothing against a Prius. I like them. They're smooth. They're cool.
Reliable.
Yeah, but I also want them. I had two Escalades at one point parked in my driveway because I couldn't sell one because gas went over it was like $6 a gallon at that time in 2005, I think. I had bought one Escalade, and then I liked this other Escalade more, so I bought that other one. I said, let me sell this one. I ended up having two Escalades for like a year, and my neighbors were like, what is this guy doing? He's got two Escalades in his driveway.
Man, my daughter got a brand new Audi, bro, all electric that is just parked, and she ain't drive because she even made an appointment to go do her driver's license test yet.
Oh yeah, you gotta get that.
Yeah, she ain't driving until she get at least the written part done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to get that driver's license, man. You know what the problem is? The school systems in LA. When I was going to school,
driver's ed.
You got your driver's license in high school because they taught it to you. Now you got to the schools don't offer it. Now you got to go pay a private business, a company to get your driver's ed. Now it's like $400, $500, and I guess it's making kids delay getting their license. As soon as I was 15 and a half, boom, I had my permit.
I did too.
Yeah.
But I'm not from the driver's ed era, but I had a permit at.
So when you went to high school, they weren't teaching it. They already stopped teaching driver's ed in high school.
Right. But see, I always told myself, I get this big bag and become wealthy, I'm gonna put driver's ed back in Inglewood schools, the high schools. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, cause yeah, man, and that's a cool little what's that called? What's that class called?
Like elective?
Elective. That'll be a cool little elective. You know what I mean? My money will go to Parks and Recs into the school. You know what I'm saying?
I think my money would go to the Children's Hospital over on Vermont and Sunset because they saved my son's life when he was like 11 years old, and I seen all those kids in there suffering, boy. I seen kids I thought my son was suffering. There's kids in there suffering. You walk around Children's Hospital, and those doctors and those nurses in Children's Hospital, they are genuinely trying to save as many kids' lives as possible. And it's an incredible hospital. I think my money would go there for the kids. All right, well, and last thing I wanted to talk about was this gang member in Memphis, Tennessee, arrested 13 years later for murder. And the first thing that comes up is, we always heard this, there's no statute of limitations on murder. Should there be a statute of limitations? That's just a question. I don't know. If you committed a murder and 20 years have passed, and you done got married and you started a family, should you still be responsible for that if they find out 20 years later or even 30 years later? Why is murder the ultimate crime to where there's no statute of limitations? But there's there's the statute of limitations almost on every other crime. But I think they're trying to change the rapes and the sexual assaults. They want to extend that. I think there are some lawmakers that want no statute of limitations on sexual crimes too. But currently there is.
I don't agree with the sexual crimes because a lot of them crimes, it be out of spite that people like. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you talking about the sexual assaults?
Sexual assaults, a lot of be out of spite, and you know what I'm saying. We don't know it to be factual.
But yeah, I could understand why murder has no statute of limitations, but it's just always bizarre when you see a guy on TV, he committed a crime 30 years ago, and this dude is not who he was, obviously 30 years ago. He's a businessman now, or he's a family man, or whatever. He's doing something, he changed his life completely. He rehabilitated himself. He clearly rehabilitated himself, but nope, you going to prison. You're going to prison to get our rehabilitation. But this guy in Memphis, Tennessee, got arrested for a crime that happened 13 years later. Let me read this. A man wanted for a crime that occurred 13 years ago has been arrested by the Memphis State Task Force. U.S. Marshals announced 34-year-old Diego Mendiola was apprehended early Tuesday morning in the area of Mendenhall and Shelby Drive after an arrest warrant was executed. Mendiola was wanted for multiple felony charges, including attempted first-degree murder, possession of a firearm with the intent to commit a felony, 2 counts of reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, and for being in the United States illegally. Marshals say Mendiola is a member of Sudeños 13 gang and had been arrested before and deported back to Mexico. As of, Memphis Safe Task Force has made 2,000 arrests. Okay, we got that. All right, so basically this guy...
It said attempted murder.
Yeah, it did say attempted murder, but I think those are on top of the murder. So a man...
So whoever that is still living told, probably.
Let's see. Because the title of the article is Safe Task Force Arrest Gang Member wanted for 2012 attempted murder. Okay, my bad. This is an attempted murder, not a murder.
So whoever that is probably seen him getting a beer at the store. Hold on.
13 years later, though? Okay, so I don't know what to...
So that's not a DNA case.
No, this is not a DNA case.
Yeah.
But I wonder what the statute of limitations in Tennessee is on attempted murder, because I guess you can get arrested any time for attempted murder as well. I mean, 13 years, you would think the statute of limitations would have passed, right? For attempted murder?
I don't know.
Let me see. Statute of limitations in Tennessee for attempted murder.
Do we got a statute out here for attempt?
Okay, check this out. There is no statute of limitations for attempted murder in Tennessee. As a result, the state can prosecute this crime at any time after it was committed. Now, you want to know if California has a statute of limitations for attempted murder? Let me just pop in California and see what they say about
that. I think I know. I'm just trying to make sure.
In California, there is no statute of limitations for the crime of attempted murder.
That's what I thought.
Okay. But you rarely hear about, 20 years later he got charged for attempted murder, It's usually...
Yeah, they let an attempt fly.
Yeah, they're more concerned about the actual murders. So, dang, this guy's 13 years later. Yeah, somebody maybe peeped him out on...
at the club.
Or social media. Yeah, social media.
Smiling ear to ear.
Yeah. But it reminded me when I pulled this case up, Munchie, of a LA case of a guy that committed a murder in 1987 and didn't get arrested for it until 2003 because of DNA. And what makes this case so interesting, you may have heard about it, is the guy was a Rollin 60 Crip back in 1987. His name was Pierre Romaine, and he was well known. He had a brother named Andre Romaine. The Romaines were known in the 80s. And he carjacked a person in 1987, and during the course of the carjacking, there was a shooting. I'm not sure if he shot the victim. He definitely shot the victim, but I believe the victim may have shot back. But whatever the case was, his blood was on the scene at the where he killed the dude. Pierre Romaine's blood. So I think he may have gotten shot or something happened to where he bled. So the police just saved the blood evidence in 1987, didn't know what to do with it. And then, 15, how many years later, from 87 to 2003, that's 16 years later, they get a hit. This belongs to a Rollin 60 Crip named Pierre Romaine. But then they realize, wait, Pierre Romaine, this dude is a police officer. He works for the Department of Defense. He's a police sergeant at the Los Angeles Air Force Base in El Segundo. And they looked him up. He was applying to become a cop in San Francisco. Like, this dude he's a police officer now.
Yeah, I think I heard this before, but I thought he was doing his thug thing and then became a police officer and then he got booted off the force for something.
A one-time Southern California police officer has been sentenced now for the decades-old murder of a man in Hollywood. The convicted killer was a gang member at one time and still denies he did it. NBC4 investigative reporter Eric Leonard now in the newsroom with more. Eric?
Well, Chuck, the mother of this murdered victim says the sentencing today has finally delivered justice for her son, who was killed during an attempted carjacking on Highland Boulevard in Hollywood in June 1987. And even after this jury's verdict, the one-time police officer has tried again to convince the court that someone else did it.
Finally, after 32 years, I am getting my justice.
The mother of Jade Clark has told the judge the man convicted was nothing more than a thief who stole her son's life and had no remorse.
He was a predator. Citizens and the public needed to be protected from him.
She's talking about Pierre Romain, a one-time Rollin 60s gang member who had a career as a police officer at an Air Force base.
It's kind of surreal to be here.
Now retired LAPD detective Rick Jackson worked the case for decades and says he helped two current LAPD detectives assemble DNA and wiretap evidence that convinced a jury.
I was doing an interview this morning, and it's like half of my life almost. This case has been part of it.
In court today, Romain's defense attorney unsuccessfully argued the trial was unfair and that Romain's brother, Andre, also a gang member, could have done it.
DNA on a projectile that could have come from Andre if Andre was wearing Pierre's clothes.
L.A. Superior Court Judge Larry Fidler denied a motion for a new trial and sentenced Romain to 27 years in prison.
25 years to life for first-degree murder, an additional 2 years for personal use of a firearm, which the jury found to be true pursuant to Penal Code Section 12022.5. So that's a total of 27 years to life.
Now, Romain's brother Andre died in prison years ago, and prosecutors dismissed the possibility that he was involved.
Yeah, I'm not sure how his police career went during this time, but there is a great podcast called Murder Book where it's multiple episodes. It's all about Pierre Romaine. But one of the interesting things about it is not only was his DNA a match, but when he was arrested and he went on trial, he blamed it on his brother. He said, "No, my brother Andre Romaine did it." But it didn't work, and he was found guilty.
And his brother is not living, right?
Yeah, correct. His brother, Andre Romaine, had died in prison years before. So I guess this goes back to a whole nother topic that we've talked about, and it's come up many times. If you're going to tell on the dead, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's no consequences.
Not find nothing wrong. I don't find anything wrong with it.
Yeah, so he did tell on his brother, who was deceased, and it didn't work. But part of what got him caught was he was applying. In 2003, he applied to become a San Francisco police officer. San Francisco was doing a background check on him. They contacted LA and they told San Francisco, "Oh, hell no, don't hire this dude. He's under investigation." And that's what got the investigation like really going. And then he got...
That was 2023. I mean, that was 2003.
2003.
And then, do you know what he got sentenced to?
Yeah, he got 28 years.
Oh, not life?
I'm not sure if it was 28 to life or if he just got 28...
We got to do an update on him. See if he in CDCR somewhere.
Yeah, he's been down for a while.
So he in jail banging Rollin 60s?
I don't even know if he was. But what was interesting, while he was a cop, they wiretapped him when they were investigating him, and dude was on the phone talking like he was a Crip. He was on the phone talking like he was rolling 60, you know.
Yeah. So yeah,
but he was a cop.
Yeah, no, he in the pen banging. He in the pen banging.
I'm trying to see if this sentence had an L on it. Ex-cop convicted of murder, was sentenced to 27 years to life. So 27 to life. He got sentenced in 2017. So it took a minute.
Damn, hold on. Hold on. Why did he get sentenced in 2017 if he got cracked in?
I think he had 2 trials. I think the first, let me see, there was some delays between 2003 and 17, but I believe he was in custody that whole time. But he was,
maybe he went to the pen and came back down, because that's a large gap.
Yeah, and he testified in his own defense. He said that he wasn't there. That the wounds came from his brother. His brother was the one that did it. But then he was on a wiretap here. In 2004, they have him on a wiretap where he said he shot the dude. So they knew he was linked in 2003. I don't know what year he was arrested. Maybe.
Okay, yeah, that matters, because you said in the county from 03 to 2017. That's unheard of.
All right, let me pull up his arrest date. Let's see when he was arrested, and it'll give us an idea. But yeah, he was a straight living a double life. He was living a double life. Ex-federal officer. Okay, he was sentenced. Yeah, I don't know when he was arrested, but shortly after they started investigating him. But I thought it was just bizarre that this guy was living a life as a police officer. That this guy was he was living a life as a cop, and he hid his like past.
Affiliation.
Yeah. Okay, so I got an article here from 2017. It says reputed former gang member turned federal police officer was convicted for first-degree murder for a 1987 carjacking. This is a 2017 article. So he was convicted in 2017. And I do recall from the podcast that it took years to prosecute him. It took years. He was like taking advantage of delays and all kind of stuff. But
I wonder, was he fighting this from the streets?
No, he was in custody because they used a lot of his phone calls from jail while he was in custody against him.
He know better though. Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. A lot of these guys be thinking they're talking in code. I don't even think you can get away with it no more. Maybe in the 60s and 70s, cops didn't understand the lingo so much. You can get away with some code talk. There is no getting away with code talk in modern day policing. It's not going to work. They will bring in an expert that says, okay, I'm going to tell you what chickens mean. I'm going to tell you what pizzas mean. And they're going to break it down and they're going to make it mean the worst stuff for you. And they might even be wrong. It's just going to sound good in front of a jury.
Right.
So there should be absolutely no talking on the telephone. Yeah, I'm going to pull up where he's at in prison. And I doubt he's on a general population, right? Would you be?
I think he'd be on. I think he'd be GP.
Well, he was living the life as a police officer, though. You know,
a crooked one.
Even the crooked cops.
I think he'd be GP.
Okay, let's see. Pierre Romain. There you go. He's 61 years old. He's in Chino, CIM, California Institution for Men. That's Chino.
I think that's PC.
Yeah, let me see here. Which yards do they have there? Let's see. Let's go through. They got 4 yards. A yard is a level 2 non-designated programming. What does that mean? Level 2 non-designated programming.
AKA you not cool.
Okay. Yard B is non-designated programming. Yard C is level 2 non-designated programming.
I think that whole prison bad.
Okay, here we go. The last yard, yard D, 2,000 general population inmates on a level 1 yard. So don't know what yard Pierre Romain is on, but he's serving his 27-year life sentence there in Chino for a 1987 homicide that he got caught for, almost 20 years later. And the last thing I'll say is it was a carjacking.
Murder carjacking.
Man, in the 80s, man, in 1987, I was 16. carjacking was the thing to do. You know how everybody talk about flocking now and all this? It was carjacking. And every day we would go out and get in our car and drive. That was all we thought about. Oh, we're going to get carjacked. You know, because if you're at that red light and they pull up on you, there's almost no defending to someone that already got a planned carjacking against you. And that was the thing. I would say from like 86 to maybe early 90s, 91, 92, carjacking was the thing. And I will admit, every time I got in my car and drove down Western, Normandy, Crenshaw, La Brea, it was always in the back of my mind, am I going to get carjacked today? And I can actually say I have never gotten carjacked. The closest, this is crazy, I was on Crenshaw. I was somewhere around Florence, around Florence. And this dude from NHP pulled up on me at a red light, opened up the side door of a van, and was about to carjack me.
I could probably guess who that is.
And he said, "Oh man, that's you, Alex." My wife's brother got carjacked in the alley behind her house one time. That was pretty intense, man. You know, most carjackers ain't gonna kill you, but you never know. Look, this Pierre Romaine case, it went. The guy in the car gave up a fight. He put up a fight, and that's why Pierre Romaine did what he did. But if you're getting carjacked, which doesn't even happen, I don't even think I've ever heard of a carjacking in the last 15 years, for your car or for your rims or for your sounds, your radio, your speakers. But you should just give up the car. That's all it is. Just give it up. You know, they got guns on you. They're gonna win that.
Carjacking carry life.
Yeah, but I don't. Do you hear about carjackings?
I heard of carjackings in the last 10, 15 years.
But I'm saying it's not something that happens a lot with your generation.
It's not common.
Like your generation wasn't out there like, oh, we're gonna go do some carjackings, right?
No, it's burglaries and robberies. My generation.
Yeah, the 80s and early 90s was like carjackings for rims and sounds, which is crazy. But that'll wrap it up, man. Tell the people where they can find you other than your weekly straight politicking.
Everybody subscribe, man. Hype every video I got going on. Morals Over Money. Morals Over Money TV. Everybody like, subscribe. Hype every video for me.
Hype them up. I just learned about the hype. Hype this video if you're watching us on YouTube. But of course, if you're listening to us on any of the audio platforms, especially if you're listening on Apple, leave us a rating and review. And if you're watching any of our clips on the StreetTV YouTube channel, hype it. Hype it. Why not? Hype it.
Like, hype, and subscribe.
Like, hype, and subscribe. That's going to be some new thing that people will start saying. And we out.